he is. Coming right to you, Lee.
Do, 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 do. Happy days in a field of clover, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, let's link to truth. It cannot be that it is hard. Hold on, I gotta fix this here. There we go. It cannot be that it is hard to do the task that Christ appointed you to do, since it is the Christ who does the task that he appointed you to do. And in the doing of the task that Christ appointed you to do, will you learn the body merely seems to be the means to do this task. For in the mind is the Christ's mind, and so it must be your mind. Let me say that again. For the mind is the Christ's mind, and so it must be your mind. Christ's holiness directs the body through the mind at one with him, and you are manifest unto your holy brother as he is manifest to you. Here in this joining of minds of two brothers is the meeting of the Holy Christ unto himself, nor any differences perceived to stand between the aspects of the Christ's holiness, which meet and join and raise God's Son, the Christ, to his Father, whole and pure and worthy of God's everlasting love. And there you have it.
All right. Sounds like we got it made in the shade.
That's the link.
We cannot experience the Christ within if we fail to recognize it in our brother. We won't ever feel it inside if we can't realize that it's possibility, and we almost always discover possibilities in other people before we see them in ourselves. Only the joining of two minds that appeared to be separate can the Christ be found. Only in the joining of two minds that appeared to be separate can the Christ be found. Since we're not separate, this joining of minds into a single purpose, which is the rediscovery of truth, magnifies the power of mind by extending loving and forgiving thoughts.
How can you manifest the Christ in you except to look on holiness and see the Christ there? Perception tells you that you are manifest in what you see. Perception tells you you are manifest in what you see. Behold the body, and you will believe that you are there in the body. And everybody that you look upon reminds you of yourself as the body, your sinfulness, your evil, and above all, your death. And would you not despise your brother's body who tells you that you are a sinful body and seek your brother's death instead? Sure. The message and the messenger are one. Hello, Bob. And you must see your brother as yourself. Trained in his body, you will see your sinfulness wherein you stand condemned. Set in your brother's holiness, the Christ in him proclaims himself as you. So that Christ proclaims Christ's self as you, if you
Gotcha.
see him in your brother. Okay.
Perception's source is in the mind of the perceiver. We perceive only what we have predetermined we want to see. Perception is not unbiased or objective. It's not the truth.
Sure.
It's our perception, our perspective. Our physical senses only confirm what we wish to observe. Judge our brother guilty and we'll see him as sinful. Since thoughts never leave their source, we will also condemn ourselves as sinners.
Perception is a choice of what you want yourself to be. Is that, hold on. Yeah. Let me put this on the other side. That helps. The world you want to live in and perception's choice is the state in which you think your mind will be content and satisfied. Perception chooses where you think your safety lies at your decision. Perception reveals yourself to you as you would have you be, and always is perception faithful to your purpose, from which perception never separates from your purpose, nor gives the slightest witness unto anything the purpose in your mind upholdeth not. Perception is a part of what it is your purpose to behold, for means and end are never separate. And thus you learn what seems to have a life apart, which is what you perceive as your mind's own projections that appear to be outside of your own mind, has no life apart from your mind's imagination. And if you're perceiving it, it ain't really happening out there. It's
That's
just
true. That's true. The ego tells us what we perceive is the objective viewing of events that come from outside of ourselves. Since the ego says that these events are outside of us, we're powerless to affect these events. Not being the source of the event, the best we can do is react to the event. The ego also advises us we may wish to engage in a preemptive strike against our future attacker. But the ego believes that attack is the best defense. In either case, we proclaim that we are victims of the world around us. If we realized that perception is awareness, if we realize that perception is based on our internal beliefs and judgments, we'd understand that we're the cause of all we experience. If we wish to call our awareness something different, we can elect to change our purpose and choose again what we wish to experience. With this realization, we would no longer be victim consciousness. When we change our goal or purpose, our perception will automatically align with the new purpose. The choice for truth over illusion will change our perception from seeing to the vision of Christ. We will see Christ in everything and look past the bodily form and focus on content.
You are the means for God, not separate, nor are you with a life apart from God's life. God's life is manifest in you, who are his son. Each aspect of God himself is framed in holiness and perfect purity, in love celestial and so complete that each aspect of God wishes only that each aspect may release all that it looks upon unto itself. Each aspect of God's radiance shines through each body that each aspect looks upon and brushes all the body's darkness into light merely by looking past the body to the light. The veil is lifted through each aspect of God's gentleness, and nothing hides the face of Christ from its beholders. You and your brother stand before the Christ now to let the Holy Spirit draw aside the veil that seems to keep you and your brother separate and apart.
The Holy Spirit utilizes all experiences as a mean to return the split minded to the truth of a oneness. If we ask for guidance, the Holy Spirit will reinterpret our misperception into correct perception. Before the mad idea of separation had occurred, God had already envisioned the correction of this mistake. God's plan for our salvation only requires that we freely accept the at-one-ment for ourselves. Thus, we become the means for the achievement of the extension of God's love. We're both the means and the end that we seek. We are God's extension of himself. Again, the oneness of the whole is evident. We are God's life made manifest. There is no separation.
Since you believe that you are separate still, heaven presents itself to you as separate too. Not that heaven is separate from you in truth, but that the link that has been given you to join the truth may reach to you through what you understand, which is your belief in the dualistic or separate nature of everything. Father and Son and Holy Spirit are as one, as all your brothers join as one in truth. Christ and Christ's Father never have been separate, and Christ abides within your understanding in the part of you, the higher self, that shares his Father's will. The Holy Spirit links the other part, the ego, the tiny mad desire to be separate, different, and special to the Christ, special, to make the oneness clear to what is really one. In this world, this oneness is not understood, but this oneness can be taught. This oneness is the one self. That is a new, okay, that's Tom's addition. I wonder what the, go ahead, read Lee, I'm gonna see what that says. That's all dark in 6.
Sure. ACIM explains that there is only a oneness and that in reality it cannot be subdivided into parts. Yet ACIM knows that the teacher must meet the student at the student's level. Since we understand a dualistic world, ACIM attempts to explain the oneness in dualistic terms so that the student may understand the concept. Although we talk as if the ego is a separate entity, it too is part of the indivisible oneness. Nothing can be conceived that could be outside this oneness. There is only God, and we are it. Perhaps the closest example of this concept of the one self in our physical universe is a hologram. In a hologram, all parts are contained in the whole, and the whole is contained in all parts. Each part has the ability to replicate the entire whole when activated by a laser beam. This laser beam could be analogous to our conscious awareness. Whatever we wish to focus on, we will experience. We can choose to focus only on a fragment of the whole or view the entirety. It's merely a matter of our own free choice.
Wow. The Holy Spirit serves Christ's purpose in your mind so that the aim of specialness can be corrected where the error lies, which is in your mind. Because the Holy Spirit's purpose still is one with both the Father and the Son, the Holy Spirit knows the will of God and what you and your higher self really will. But this is understood by mind perceived as one, aware that the mind is one, and so experienced as one. It is the Holy Spirit's function to teach you how this oneness of mind is experienced, what you must do so that this oneness of mind can be experienced, and where you should go to do it.
I'm ready. Let's
Give
go. The Holy
me
Spirit is our
the
teacher.
address.
What's that?
Give me the address. I'm on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll set ways, and we're on our ways.
Yep.
The Holy Spirit is our teacher, whose function it is to restore us to the truth of this one self. The Holy Spirit is aware of both the will of God and our egoic thought system, which is under the delusion that the separation is real. because of the Holy Spirit's unique position of being aware of egoic thoughts. It can reinterpret any thought that is not originally in alignment with the truth of the will of God. The Holy Spirit restores egoic thought to the sanity of truth.
Wow. All this restoration of egoic thought to the sanity of truth takes note of both time and place, as if both time and place were discrete. For while you think that part of you is separate, the concept of a oneness joined as one is meaningless. It is apparent that an egoic mind so split could never be the teacher of a oneness which unites all things within itself. And so, what is within this mind and does unite all things together must be the egoic split mind's teacher. The Holy Spirit is this teacher. Yet must this teacher, the Holy Spirit, use the language that this egoic split mind can understand in the condition in which this egoic split mind thinks it is, which is that the ego believes that the separation is real. And this teacher, the Holy Spirit, must use all learning to transfer illusions to the truth, taking all false ideas of what you are and leading you beyond the false ideas of what you are to the truth that is beyond the illusion. All this teaching can very simply be reduced to this: what is the same cannot be different, and what is one cannot have several parts.
Or separate parts.
What did I say?
Several,
Oh,
which is several separate parts. So still the same.
good. Thank you.
No problem. A Course in Miracles explains that all lessons that the Holy Spirit must teach to the egoic mind can be summed up in one simple statement of fact. What is the same cannot be different, and what is one cannot have separate parts. This is a definition of a oneness. Homogeneous is the word that comes to mind. It's
Mm.
homogeneous like mayonnaise. This is a definition of a oneness. At the physical level, this may best be exemplified by the characteristic of a hologram. These lessons will be taught in time and space in a manner. Ooh, whoa!
What's the next one? Go on.
These lessons will be taught in time and space, in a manner that they who perceive themselves to be trapped in time and space can understand. Talk about meeting your pupil at the place that they're at.
Mm.
One of the functions of time and space is to provide a playing field in which the lessons of egoic misperception can be undone.
Wow. This is really powerful stuff,
It is.
especially when
And
you see the title of the next section.
yeah, I know. And I really love that we almost have a laser beam coming in. And that's a perfect representation of a two-dimensional space on Earth. It's from a point to a point. It forms an exact straight line. It's made of light, so it's, for all intents and purposes, instantaneous for our perspective. But it's a perfect representation of light as a whole being the idea creator, the God that created everything by thinking it into being.
Excellently put, my son.